All right, welcome back to the Gazette Radio Hour with John and Doug on AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Cruz's hometown station. Doug is couch-bound. One of our listeners actually indicated that Doug sounds a little intoxicated. So, Doug, I hope you're not mixing Coors Light with your pain pills.
No, that'll be after the show.
Just a typical Friday for Doug, huh? Anyway, so, Doug, you know what yesterday was, right?
Lent. No, Ash Wednesday.
Well, actually, that would have been
2 days.
Yes, actually, they moved it. It was leap year. They moved it to Thursday.
Oh, okay.
It was Ash Thursday. Really, Doug? Yesterday, pitchers and catchers reporting.
Oh yeah, the four best words you've ever heard or something.
Pitchers and catchers reporting. We've got Mr. Sports on the line. I hope if Hannah did this right.
Ash Wednesday is typically on Wednesday.
Oh, so now we have a religious correspondent too, isn't that right, Mr. Sports? So, pitchers and catchers reporting. What do you think?
You know, I to be honest, I haven't looked too much into it. I was busy with the NBA trade deadline all night last night.
Oh, Lakers did a whole lot, didn't they?
They did a lot.
Yeah,
the Clippers.
Well, hopefully the Lakers. Well, actually, the Lakers actually did nothing. Neither did the Clippers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I heard somebody say something. One of the funniest things I heard yesterday was there's I think the Lakers play the 76ers. Coming up in I think it was in about a month or a couple weeks, and they're actually going to pick people from the stands to play that game because now, instead of Phoenix having the Lakers protected draft pick, the 76ers have it. Right?
Yeah.
And if the Lakers win that game, and how does that work? The pick is they have the pick
protected 1 through 5.
Okay, so if it's 1 through 5 this
Lakers
year,
would get it.
The Lakers get it. Is it unprotected next year?
I believe so.
Okay, so they're going to give up their first
Typically,
round
that's how
pick.
it works.
They're going to give up their first round draft pick at some point in time.
Yes.
And whether it's this year or next year doesn't matter. Okay,
Yeah.
I see. So the Lakers are going to be so bad they're going to give up their first round draft pick if they're better than the 76ers, who are horrendously bad.
Well, let's just hope they get 1 through 5 this year.
No, that's a good point. So, winners and losers at the trade deadline. Anybody move that anybody really cares about?
Miami. They're getting their point guard Goran Dragic, considering how thin their backcourt is right now.
Yeah, but
having a true point guard.
Didn't Miami take a hit with Chris Bosh?
Yes, but that was after the trade deadline.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see. We'll see if he's out for the season. He's got a blood clot in his lung.
Is that official, Mr. Sports?
Yes.
Oh.
A blood clot in his lung. That's not even just sports related. That's scary on multiple levels.
That's life-threatening.
Yeah.
You know, and another team who I think did well, we'll see if they did well, would be Philadelphia, actually. Because not only did they, gain some picks, but they traded away some players who obviously don't think they could be cornerstones for their franchise, in which they can turn those picks into potential cornerstones.
Yeah.
By trading away Michael Carter-Williams and so on.
I don't know. It just seems like all they're doing is trying to get picks in the first round this year.
Which, it's a loaded class.
Yeah, I could see that. But hey, did you hear the news that kind of struck me as kind of unusual? Is the Big Ten and some of these other massive conferences are considering a rule that prohibits freshmen from playing basketball.
And I sort of like it.
Oh no!
Well, that's gonna kill their recruiting. The kids that know they're one and done, they're not going to go to that school.
But how many kids this year, not even this year, past couple years, have you seen one and dones come out and basically sit on the bench and the next thing you know, leave for China or the D League or something, and they never get out of the D League?
Yeah, but okay, so is the idea of that if everybody does it, maybe.
Let me put it this way. I think there's room to work with there.
There's Melo Trimble, the freshman point guard from University of Maryland, who's a man among men, would like to say hello to in this and have a say in this conversation. If he wants to go pro next year, let him go. He's proven it on this level.
He won't go pro, though.
He won't.
Instead of that, why don't they do what the NFL did, where you have to play 2 years before you're eligible? And
I've been a big advocate of that for a while now. Is you have to play 3 years. If you want to leave after your junior year, that's fine. But you put these kids in situations to where, let's say it doesn't pan out in the NBA or whatever professional league they're in, at least they have the ability to, let's say, go back to school for another year, and then they finish their degree.
No, that's not a bad idea. It's still a little bit of restraint of trade. I mean, if you're that good, what happens to somebody like LeBron, and going back even Kobe, or going back to even Moses Malone, guys that are too good to sit around for 2 years? They're not going to go to class.
Yeah.
aren't you just kind of making a mockery of the entire student-athlete thing?
Well, I mean, it's virtually the same thing that Cardale Jones said.
Yeah. See, now, if you wanted to modify it so they can get a 2-year degree in basketball, and as part of that degree program, they take classes in money management and, ethics and things along those lines that are going to help them in their professional career, maybe that makes sense.
Well, let's be real here. Most of these athletes are doing general studies or something.
Yeah, exactly. And underwater basket weaving.
Yes.
I took a class with Len Bias when I was at University of Maryland. He showed up, I think, once. And I went, hey, look, there's Len Bias. And I never saw him again. So I'm not so sure that's a good idea. We're going to talk college basketball after the break. Is that all right, Mr. Sports?
That's absolutely fine.
Perfect, because I still think, well, wait a minute. We can still talk Lakers because that's college basketball right now, isn't it?
Ooh, but I got one NBA question I want to throw in. We have time now, or we need to wait?
Go ahead, real quick.
Did you see the game last night with the Clippers where, what's his name, Dwayne Jordan, is that his name?
DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, where the Spurs kept fouling him. It was like hack-a-shack. That made for the most boring basketball I've ever seen. There's got to be some rule implemented against that.
Couldn't you say the same thing with, you just said it, hack-a-shack? It's virtually the same thing. I mean,
Right.
Did you think when Shaq was getting fouled it was boring?
Yes.
So let me ask you this then. Do you think, let's say, in the NFL, if teams start spiking the ball when they're out of timeouts, do you think that's boring?
Because they're only going to spike the ball during timeouts when they're trying to drive for a touchdown to stop the clock.
But if Shaq would have made those free throws, or the guy last night would have made them, it wouldn't have been different. But he throws bricks every time.
But don't you think it's more of a tactical thing? I mean,
it is. I know. It makes a lot of people turn the TVs off.
I agree with you, Doug. Ooh, God, I hate saying that. All right. Hey, guys, when we come back, let's talk college basketball. Maybe we'll touch a little bit. Doug, you can enlighten us on the Dodgers and their woes with their closers and close up the show. How's that sound?
Okay.
All right. You're listening to Gazette Radio with Doug and John and Mr. Sports on AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Cruz hometown station. We'll be back to finish it up. All right. You're listening to Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John. Sort of. On AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Cruz hometown station. Mr. Sports is on the line with us. We've got Mr. Sports. That's all we really need. To be in the know with Mr. Sports. See, Doug, you do it so much better than I do.
Thank you.
Not even close. All right. So let's talk college basketball. It's almost March. It's that time of year. With Kentucky, will the madness continue? Undefeated, nobody on the horizon.
They have no competition.
No competition.
They have no competition.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think there's going to be a trap game somewhere that looms in there, somewhere like an LSU or something like that.
They almost got beat by LSU, but I just don't see anybody catching up to them. I mean, they literally substitute. They have 2 squads. They have 2 different squads. Yeah. I've never seen a team that just, second team in, and they still pull away from people.
But is there going to be a moment where, they kind of get in front of themselves thinking we'll go undefeated the whole way when there's a hungry team on the bubble that knows they need a big win at home? And let's say, teams that come to mind are like an Ole Miss or something like that.
That's possible. It's possible. So the toughest conference in college basketball would not be the SEC.
No.
I don't think it's even close. It would obviously be the Western Athletic Conference, right, Mr.
Don't get me started. You got Gonzaga rated ahead of Arizona. You got to be kidding me.
It's all politics, Doug.
Man.
It doesn't matter. It's the seeding committee.
I know. It's just the point of it all.
And realistically, Doug, I'd rather have a 2 than a 1.
Really? Why is that, Mr.
This year.
Why is that, Mr. Sports?
I feel there's going to be more upsets this year than previous years. And, from a 1, you're going to have to play either a 9 or an 8, and then you're going to have to play a 4 or a 5.
That's a good point.
So, considering this so far has been a mediocre year, and, Wednesday's Duke-North Carolina game is exactly what we needed so far this year.
That's actually a pretty good game. And the Goodyear blimp did not explode, unfortunately, because I can't stand either of those teams, being from Maryland. Hate them both. But it was sad to see actually, it was very nice to see. It was a very nice tribute to Dean Smith, the former coach of North Carolina.
Yeah, it was.
That was very touching on both sides.
And then, and I'd like to throw out, the tribute by Las Vegas to Jerry the Shark Tarkanian.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, too. Another 2 great coaches. I kind of wanted to go chew on a towel. Remember that? God, that was awesome. They actually had a guy who actually took care of his towels for him, and he would freeze them, wet them down and freeze them, and that's what he would chew on instead of actually taking drinks of water. Isn't that interesting? I didn't know that. All right, so the number 1 seed is Mr. Sports. Who do you got?
Virginia, Kentucky, Duke, Gonzaga.
So we've got 2 from the ACC, 2 of the toughest conference in the country.
So, Mr. Sports, you're going to do Virginia and Duke, even though one of them is going to lose in the ACC tournament?
I think regardless how this plays out, I think Virginia's already locked in. I think Virginia could lose a game here and then lose a game in the ACC tournament, and I still think they're solidified as the number 1 seed.
Yeah, they've done enough, and their defense is smothering still.
And they're doing it without their potential All-American and Justin Anderson, too.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we've come to that time of the show where I get to listen to you guys talk about Arizona basketball. Go.
I want to hear Doug's thoughts.
Well, right now we're on fire. I mean, we're unstoppable. Our tough game tomorrow, we're UCLA at home, but we should handle them. But then the following week, we're at Utah, the 8th-ranked Utah Utes. So that will be interesting.
They're going to have redemption on their mind.
Okay, well that was interesting too, you guys.
I got to be honest. I can't hear Doug as very well at all.
All right, he's talking about them.
He's just babbling.
Yeah, he's on drugs. So I mean,
and he I see him more of as a Bud Light guy than a Coors Light guy.
Yeah, that's probably true. No, I think it is actually Coors Light and pain meds.
I don't mix.
His drink of choice, Vicodin and a Coors Light. All right, so let's talk. Okay, let's go back to the pitchers and catchers. Kenley Jansen, closer for the Dodgers, out early.
Yeah, first month of regular season.
That's a little scary. Puts him in a hole. That West is stacked, isn't it?
Yep. I think San Diego's much improved, and obviously you have San Francisco, the hated ones.
Yeah. The Giants, I don't think they'll repeat because it's just not their year. They'll repeat next year. That seems to be an ongoing thing.
Well, how is that a repeat, then?
Well, they win every other year. Okay, fine. So I don't owe Pat Riley for the three-peat. I don't think they'll repeat, but I think they'll win the year after. That's what they usually seem to end up doing is once every other year.
Well, it seems like it's them or the Red Sox.
Yeah, good point. The Red Sox are another team. I think let's talk about Orioles. We don't talk about Maryland sports at all. I wonder why that is.
Because this is L.A., John.
I know.
Hey, you had your moment with Mello Trimble.
I did. Liked how I snuck that in there.
Wait, Mr. Sports, though, do you think losing Matt Kemp is going to hurt when we need that 2-3-run homer?
All I heard was Matt Kemp.
I was asking, do you think it's going to hurt since Matt Kemp's gone? Because the Dodgers every once in a while fall behind and then get that 2 or 3 run homer from Matt Kemp to pull out the game from the victory from the jaws of defeat.
I don't think so.
I think I think they'll be fine. I think they've got the offense. I'm concerned more about the bullpen and the back end of their starting rotation than anything else.
Yeah.
I think one thing they're going to need is someone like Matt Kemp. They're going to have to find that leader to be clutch when they need him to be clutch. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
And can it be the rookie Jock Peterson? That's the question.
That's your boy, huh?
Do you really like?
I hope he's my boy.
Really like Jock Peterson that much? I'm not convinced yet. We'll see. It should be an interesting season. We'll have plenty of time to talk about it because Lord knows there's nothing going on between now and August when football starts again.
And I'm going to give you a prediction real quick.
All right.
Adrian Gonzalez will end up in the top 3 in the NL MVP voting this year.
Oh, so he's back this year, huh?
I'll take it.
That's gonna bode well for the Dodgers. All right, gentlemen, thank you once again. It's always a pleasure. Doug, feel better, Mr. Sports. Thanks for coming to the table today. We will talk to you soon, I'm sure.
Thanks, guys.
So, Doug, gonna go out and exercise? Gonna go hit the marathon? Hit the treadmill?
No, I'm hoping to have my MRI and get back in action.
All right. Looking forward to it. Thanks, everybody, for listening. You're listening to Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John on AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Cruz hometown station. We are out.